Hi everyone, today we see a very beautiful and different design than we do usual. So for that I am using a gold color satin fabric, and look at this, the grid is copied on the right side of the material. So keep that in mind, we need to copy the grid and the design on the right side of the material. Then here I am using a total of 1 meter fabric for the designed side. That means I marked the grid to a 90 centimeter by 90 centimeter fabric, and I think the shrinkage of this particular design is going to be half. So when we start doing the design in a 1 meter fabric, it will end up in a 50 centimeter by 50 centimeter. So when we need 40 centimeter fabric for designed fabric for a cushion cover which measures 40 by 40 centimeter, we need to copy the design to at least an 80 by 80 centimeter fabric, and we need to leave an extra length on 4 sides for the sewing edges. So always it is recommended that always use a long fabric and cut it only after you finish the design. So always better to have more than less. I'm using a chalk to mark the grid. So please remember to refer the pattern I have shown in the previous part of the video. So it will be easy for you to copy the grid and design to your material. And there's each box measures 1 inch. So we need to use at least 1 inch, or you can use 1.5 inch squares. But we need to take extra if you're using 1.5 inch squares, I think. So we're going to start sewing the design. Before that, let me show you something. When you see a mark like this in your design, this is the first part I'm going to do in this design. So we need to sew all its ends, means 1, 2, 3, 4. So let me show you the here. Can you see the mark, same mark? So it will be like that. We're going to start from one end of this line and moving on to the other end, and to the third one, and to the last one. Then we go into the starting point again. So here you can see the thread formed a square shape. Put some light. And we need to pull the thread tight. So you can see it formed a flower shape with the 4 petals. And now we need to secure the thread in the center of the flower. So because we are doing the design on the right side of the fabric, we need to cover the thread, and it will be great if you use some beads to cover the thread. I use a bead right in the center of the flower, so it will be looking like this, and we need to secure it very well by sewing over few times. And we can cut the thread. Going to cut the thread from its inner side so we can hide the thread in its inner side. So like that we need to finish all the flowers. Means whenever you see these marks in your material, you need to use the same method I show you now. And if you go in a so here you can see I have sewed one flower. So I need to move on to the next point where I marked the same. Here. So many people ask after sewing one point where they need to sew the next. There is no rules like that. You can go in an upward direction or a right direction, right side, or downward. Only important thing to remember is sew all the marked points. So here I recommend you to finish the flowers first. Then we can move on to the second part. What? Our first part is over. Have made all the flowers all over the fabric. Then now we have to consider this diagonal lines we marked on four corners of the flower. So let's consider one of the diagonal line. Here it is. So we're going to be sewing its both ends together. Look at this. So it has formed a diagonal line. So we're going to pull the thread and securing it. You can use a bead, same like we used for the flower, but this time I'm not using the bead in this. And you can cut the thread. And after that we can consider another diagonal line and sew that the same way we did. Like that we need to go along and finish all the diagonal lines we marked for our design. Okay, look at this. Once you sew the 4 lines on 4 sides of the flowers, it will look like this. So I really recommend you to add some beads if you're worried about the visible thread. Here it is. I haven't completed it yet. I'm planning to add some glue on beads on 4 corners of the flower, but still it looks amazing. Let's have a look.